So far we were discussing about the simple concepts of DC circuits. Now we are going to discuss different methods, like two important two most popularly used methods, like mesh and nodal analysis. And then other than that, you have the theorems concept also. Using that also, we can go for the analysis. Okay, so all those analysis we are going to discuss now. So mesh analysis. So we are going to start with the mesh analysis. Mesh is nothing but a loop. Okay. Okay. So it's a general procedure for analyzing DC circuits. Okay. So here the idea is generally so far when we discussed the series circuits or parallel circuits, we were considering for parallel circuits different branch currents, and we will try to find out using simple current divider or voltage divider, and we were trying to find out the that is whatever is required, power dissipation or current across any current through any element. That way we were finding out. So now here we are going to consider the mesh current. Okay, so mesh current we are going to consider here, and we are going to write the loop equation using KVL. Okay, so here mesh analysis is basically using KVL. We are going to identify the number of loops or number of meshes, and then we will write. If suppose I have three loops in the given circuit, then I'll be having I'll be assuming three loop currents. That is, for each loop we will assume one loop current, and then based on the KVL for each of the loop we'll be writing the voltage equation. Okay, so we'll have three equations and three unknown currents. Just by solving those three equations, we'll be able to find out all the three loop currents. Then depending on the specification, whatever is required, then we'll be based on that three loop currents, we'll be able to calculate whatever is required. Okay, so here one important thing is this mesh analysis is applicable only for the planar circuits or planar networks. Okay, so what is planar? It can be drawn in a simple plane with no branches crossing one another. Okay, see for example, this is an example for the planar network. This is an example for the planar network. You can ask like, ma'am, this is looking like branches crossing one another. It's looking like crossing, but when you redraw, this I have redrawn. Similarly, the 6 ohms also I can redraw. Okay, so no branches crossing each other. So this forms one loop, and this forms the second loop, and this forms the third loop, and this forms the fourth loop. Okay, and then here this forms the fifth loop. So that way the circuit can be drawn on a simple plane with no branches crossing each other. Okay, so for example, here when you consider, anybody's having a doubt? Okay, so now when you consider, this is an example for the non-planar. Okay, see for example, all the loops are fine, all the loops are fine other than this branch. So this branch is crossing this, so we are not able to identify a closed loop for this. I can redraw, but even if I redraw, see how do I join? It's going to cross only. So for these kind of networks, this is called non-planar network. For these kind of non-planar networks, mesh analysis is not suitable. But nodal analysis, it doesn't have any restriction like this. Okay, so we can go for nodal analysis for such kind of networks, for such kind of non-planar networks. Okay, so now let's see how do I do with mesh analysis. Let's consider a very generic DC circuit. Let's consider a very simple DC circuit consisting of so here the number of maybe I will tell you the steps. The first step is check whether the given network is planar or non-planar to find out whether we can go for mesh analysis or not. Okay, so that will be your first step. Then after we find that this is a planar network, then we'll go for identifying the number of loops or number of meshes. First step is identify the number of loops and assign a loop current. Assign a loop current for each, for all the loops. Okay. So then second thing is apply KVL for all of the loops and then write the equation. Okay. So apply KVL and write the voltage equation for all the loops. For all the loops. And then, so depending on the number of loops, I'll have number of unknown currents. Similarly, the number of equations also. So solve the equation either using a normal algebraic simplification, or we'll go for the matrix method using Cramer's rule. We can solve it. Okay. So you can solve the equations to find the mesh current or loop current. Solve the equation to find loop current or mesh current. Then go for the required calculation. If they ask for voltage through or current through any particular element, then based on this loop current we can find the required one. Okay. So now let's consider, to do all these steps, let's consider a simple DC circuit. Let's consider a simple DC circuit. Okay. So definitely it's a planar network because no branches crossing each other, no branches crossing another branch. Okay. So now here, now this ABCD naming is given just to understand the loop. Okay, it's not required, it's not mandatory. Just to explain, we have considered this ABCDEF. Okay, so now here obviously this is the reference node. This is the reference node. Okay, so actually in mesh analysis, this reference node calculation is not very important. For node analysis, that's very important. Okay, so now here let us identify the number of loops. Okay, so here when I start from A, this forms one loop. This forms one loop. That is A, B, E, F, A. A, B, E, F, A. That forms the loop 1. Similarly, B, B, C, D, E, B. This forms another loop. Okay, and then it looks like this outer one. A, B, C, D, E, F, A. It looks like a loop, but that is not a loop because we have a crossing branch R5. We have a crossing branch in this path. Okay, so the external one, the outer loop is not the loop. So we have two loops here. Somebody is unmuted. This is creating a trouble every class. Who's that? Please mute yourself. Every class, one or the other is unmuted and talking something. Okay, so now here we are able to identify two loops in the given DC circuit. So what is that? Then we have to assign a loop current. We have to assign a loop current. How do we assign a loop current? Let us go for a clockwise current direction. Let's go for a clockwise direction. So we assume two loop currents. For this loop 1, we assume the current I1. For this loop 2, we assume the current I2. But how do we assume the direction? Let us assume the clockwise current direction for both the loops. The first step is done. So number of loops are 2 and number of currents are 2. Okay, we are naming it as I1 and I2. We are naming it as I1 and I2. You can give any name, nothing wrong in it. Okay, now we are going to apply KVL for each of the loops. For both the loops, we will apply the KVL and write the voltage equation. So now let us consider the first loop A, B, E, F, A. Okay, apply KVL for this. Apply KVL for this loop and write the voltage equation. Okay, so here we are going for the voltage equation. What is KVL? Just recollect your KVL. Sum of the voltages in a closed loop is equal to 0. In other words, sum of the voltage rises in a closed loop is equal to the sum of the voltage drops in a loop. You can mention the KVL in both the forms. Okay, so now here generally how did we assume? For voltage rise we consider plus and voltage drop we consider negative. Okay, so now here let us write the voltage equation. So how many components, how many voltage components are there? V1 and current voltage drop across R1 and voltage drop across R3. Okay, so now here it's, since I assume the clockwise direction, so this is minus to plus, so voltage rise, I write V1 here. Okay, and then this is based on this current direction, current flows from higher potential to the lower potential, so it's a drop. So there is going to be a voltage drop across the resistor R1. So let us write it on the other side. Voltage rise is equal to voltage drop. So now here only current I1 flows through this element R1. Through this element only the current I1. Okay, so now obviously it is I1 into R1. Okay, then we have another element in the same loop, that is R3. Another element in the same loop, which is R3. So now what voltage is I into R as per Ohm's law. Now what will be the current flowing through this element? See here, when you, this is the common element between loop 1 and loop 2. It's present between loop 1 and loop 2. So both the loop currents are going to flow through this element R3. So now what will be the effective current? Okay, so now I1 is flowing in this direction, whereas I2 is flowing in the opposite direction. Okay, so definitely the current flowing through this R3 is going to be the difference between these two currents. Okay, it's obvious. It's a common element between loop 1 and loop 2. So current flowing through this element is going to be the summation. But when you look at the direction, I1 and I2 are in the different directions. So the current flowing through R3 is going to be the difference between those two currents. Now, whether it is I1 minus I2 or I2 minus I1. That is also important, right? So now we are writing a KVL for this particular loop. So as far as this current direction is concerned, I1 is same, but I2 is opposite. So it's going to be I1 minus I2, sorry, small letter, no? So I1 minus I2 into R3. So that's all, simple. So we have written the KVL. Okay, same way we can write the KVL for the loop 2 also. So now let us write B, C, D, E, B. Let us consider this loop, second loop, apply KVL, write the voltage equation. So again here for loop 2 also we have 3 elements. Okay, so now clockwise direction only we are going to assume here also. It's not necessary you have to go for clockwise direction. Better we will go for the clockwise direction, because matrix method, when you apply this clockwise direction, it's easy. That is, we can derive a common methodology by using this clockwise direction, by assuming this clockwise direction. Okay, so now here for this loop, what is the current, what is the voltage across R3? Again here this is a common element. So now with respect to loop 2 we are writing the voltage equation. So I2 in the same direction and I1 in the opposite direction. So it's going to be I2 minus I1. With respect to loop 2, it's going to be I2 minus I1 into R3. Okay, and then plus these are all the drops. Okay, and then here this is again the current flowing from higher potential to the lower potential. So this is a drop. So what is this R2 current? The loop current I2, that is the only current flowing through this element R2. So it's obviously I2 into R2. Okay, and then here when you consider, see this is the voltage source. So as per the assumed direction, it's again the drop, plus 2 minus. It's again the drop. So let us include that also in this side. So there is no voltage rise as far as this loop is concerned. So sum of the voltage drops is equal to voltage rises. So here the voltage rises is 0. Okay, now let us simplify this equation. I'll write it here itself. So V1 is equal to, here we have two I1 appearing in two terms, right? Okay, so I can write it as R1 plus R3 into I1. R1 plus R3 into I1 minus R3 into I2. And then similarly here also I have two terms with I2. I have two terms with I2. So it's going to be one is I3 R2, the other one is I2 R2. So I can write it as R2 plus R3 to I2 minus I1 into R3. I will write the voltage constant value, no? Voltage source is a constant value, right? So I'll bring it to the other side. Let me write it as minus V2. Okay, now I can write this as a simple matrix. I can write this as a simple matrix. So 2 by 2 matrix, the size of the matrix depends on the number of loops. Okay, so here, what are all the components? I have R1 plus R3 minus R3, and here minus R3, R2 plus R3 multiplied by I1, I2, which is equal to V1 minus V2. So this is I matrix multiplied by R matrix is equal to V matrix. I matrix multiplied by R matrix is equal to V matrix. Okay, so now you all might have studied the Cramer's rule, right? So now find out that is my aim is I have to find out I matrix. I have to find out the unknown loop currents I1 and I2. Okay, so now find out this R matrix, find out the determinant of this R matrix, del. Okay, and then find out del I1. What is del I1? Replace the first column of this 2 by 2 matrix with the constant. Replace the first column of this matrix with the right hand side matrix. So del I1 determinant also you find out. So now as per the Cramer's rule, I1 is equal to del I1 by del. Determinant of del I1 divided by del. Similarly, you can take del I2 also. What is del I2? Replace the column 2 with the right hand side, that is constant value. Then I2 is nothing but determinant of del I2 divided by del, as per the Cramer's rule, which you might have studied in your matrix calculations. Okay, so now this is how we will do. So now what I'll do, we can, 1 minute.
Ma'am, just before about the second KVL, that is about the second loop KVL. From where exactly are you starting the equation?
No, I have considered this loop. I have 3 elements. You can start in any way. I have 3 elements. I should include all the 3 voltages. So I have taken first R3. So R3 is nothing but I2 minus voltage drop across R3 is nothing but I2 minus I1 into R3. Okay, and then
you're going in the opposite direction of I3, right? When you are going from down to top for calculating I3.
Now let us not confuse this I1, I2, I3. Just forget about I1, I2, I3. Now we have only 2 currents, 2 mesh currents. Now the current flowing through this branch is going to be the difference between these 2 currents. Since we are writing the voltage equation with respect to this loop, this I3 will be same as I2. This I3 will be same as I2 and opposite to that of I1. That is, I am considering the current direction like this. So my current flowing through this R3 will be I2 minus I1. Since my reference direction is like this. Don't confuse with the branch current. Because when you consider the branch current, it will be opposite. It will look like I1 minus I2. I will tell you this way. 1 minute. Okay, so now this current no. So since I go for this clockwise direction, now the current flowing through this R3. Since I assume the direction like this, no, the current will flow like this. Okay, so it is same as I2 opposite to that of I1. Same as I opposite to that of I1. With respect to loop, so I'll write R3 into I2 minus I1.
But then how can you write plus I2 R2? You have to write minus I2 R2, no?
But this is R3, no? So I2 R3 minus I1 R3.
No, I'm talking about the next element. This is fine.
See,
then you have written plus. Then you have written plus I2 R2.
See
so
here,
then the
what I have written, I2 R3 plus R2. Correct only, no? I2 into R3 plus I2 into R2, which became R2 plus R3 into I2. I2
no,
R3.
I'm saying that if you're starting from E, then there is a voltage drop across R2. If you go in the direction of I2 itself,
So
then there is a
all our
voltage
voltage
drop.
drops. All our voltage drops as per the assumed direction. This is
Oh,
also
acha.
drop.
Okay,
This is also
right.
drop and
I got
voltage.
it. Okay. Right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, as per the Cramer's rule, we can solve it. Now, I'll tell you one shortcut method to write the matrix directly. Because using Cramer's rule, I can solve the matrix to find out the loop currents. Okay. So now, instead of writing the equation and then make it as a matrix, we can directly write the matrix. So now I'll write a generic matrix. I'll write a generic form of the matrix representation. See, for what is the matrix? We have R matrix, we have I matrix, and then we have the voltage matrix. Okay, so now here, so this R matrix, I am going to expand as, if suppose I have 3 loops. If suppose this is for 2 loops, okay, maybe I'll write for 2 loops, then I'll extend it for 3 loops. Okay, for this first element is going to be R11. This is nothing but self resistance for loop 1. So what are all the resistances present in the loop 1? So here, if you look at this, it's coming as R1 plus R3. So now here also, if you consider this R11, R11 is nothing but the self resistances or the resistances present in the loop 1. So we have 2 resistances in loop 1. So R11 is nothing but R1 plus R3. And then the second element is minus R12. So this is very important. Since we assume the clockwise direction, let it be any number of loops, and then you consider any common element present between the 2 loops. If suppose I consider one more loop like this, then if I consider, because this will be the common element between these 2 loops. Similarly, this will be the common element between these 2 loops. Okay, so this R12 is nothing but the common element between loop 1 and loop 2. Okay, so since we are going for assumption of clockwise current direction, so the common element current will be see in this loop it will be same. That's what we have derived here, no? So we got it as, for this loop 1 we got it as minus I1. That is minus I1 into R3. For loop 1 we got it as minus R3 into I2. So for this common element, that current is going to be negative. So this R12, this R12 is the common element, mutual resistance between the loop 1 and loop 2, and that will be negative. Please don't make this mistake. Always you have to assume the clockwise direction. If you go for anti-clockwise direction in some of the loops, then this may not be, this generic matrix is not applicable. You can do that and you can solve it using normal equation simplification. But when I want to go for this matrix method, just by supervision of this network, I can write the matrix. But this is applicable only when I assume the clockwise direction. Okay, so minus R12. Similarly, in the second row, it is minus R21. Since it is a second loop, so I write it as 21. So again, this is a common element between loop 2 and loop 1, and that will be a negative. And then we have R22. What is R22? Sum of the resistances present in the loop 2. Then multiplied by I1, I2. Okay, let us write a small letter I1, I2, which is equal to V1, V2. So what is this V1 and V2? V1 is the voltage source present in the loop 1. And then V2 is nothing but voltage source present in the loop 2. Okay.
Ma'am, actually I thought V2 should be negative, ma'am, and take the loop.
That's what. Again, I didn't come to that magnitude value. Yes, V2 is negative only. That's how we wrote no. See, minus V2 only we have written here. Minus V2 only we have written here. Okay, so now while writing the voltage value, if suppose I have only one voltage source, then I can consider only that voltage source and I can write the constant value over here. But the thing is, we have to note down how is the current direction. That is for always we go for clockwise direction. So for loop 1, it's a rise. So we write it as plus V1. Whereas for loop 2, as per the clockwise current direction, it is a drop. So we write it as minus V2. Okay, so this is a generic equation. That's why I didn't write this plus minus. Okay, so depending on the network, as far as this network is concerned, it is appearing it as, if suppose in this in some of the cases, if you have something like this, then it will also be plus V2. So depending on the network, I'll write it. Okay, so that's all. So now when you want to extend, 1 minute, let me finish it off. So if I want to extend it for the 3 loop or 4 loop, so for 3 loop, if I consider, so it's going to be R11, R12, R13. And then for second loop, R21, R22, R23. And then for third loop, R31, R32 and R33. Then as discussed already, these are all the common resistances between loop 1 and 2, loop 1 and 3, 2 and 1, 2, 3, 3, 1 and 3, 2. So all these resistances will be negative. All these common resistances or mutual resistances will be negative. Whereas this R11 is self-resistance for loop 1, self-resistance for loop 2, self-resistance for loop 3. So sum of the resistances present in loop 1. So it will be summation. So there is no negative and all. And then I1, I2, I3, V1, V2, V3. So if suppose there is no voltage source for any particular loop, then I can write that voltage value as 0. Then one more thing, if suppose you have more than one voltage source in a loop, then we have to find out the summation. So we have to find the summation or difference for those two voltage sources, depending on the current direction, whether it is a rise or drop. Okay, so directly I can write a loop for any given DC circuit. Okay, let us go for an example. Let's go for an example. So here I can write the matrix directly and proceed. Or otherwise what we'll do, I'll write the equation, then write the matrix, and we will write the matrix directly from the DC network and go for the comparison, or whichever you feel. That's, I'm not forcing, not telling you this is the correct method or that's the correct method. Matrix method is easy to do. Okay, anyways, when you go for the super mesh and all, this matrix cannot be written directly. We have to go for equation simplification only. So whichever you feel comfortable, you can do. Now, just let me explain both the methods. Okay, first let's here it's easy. We are able to find out easily only 2 loops as far as this given network is concerned. Only 2 loops. Okay, so now what is the critical thing here? We have the voltage source. We have the voltage source in the common branch. Let's see. And for equation, no confusion. But when we write the matrix, how do we consider? Let's see. First, let's write the voltage equation. So let's consider this particular loop, this particular I1 loop. Okay. So we have 4 voltage components. We have 4 voltage components. First component, rises, I will write on the left hand side. So this is a rise. So 15. And then this is a drop, 5 into I1. And this is a common element. So with respect to loop 1, 10 into I1 minus I2. And then here as per this, it's a drop. So again, that 10 will also come here. Okay. So now when I go for the simplification of this equation, so 15 is equal to 5I1 plus 10I1, 15I1. And then this is minus 10I2. I'll bring the constants, I will bring the constant this side. So I'll have 15 minus 10, 5. Okay, and then I can write it as 3I1 minus 2I2 is equal to 1. Just dividing the whole equation by 5. Okay, so this is my first equation. This is my first equation. So now let us write the voltage KVL for the, apply KVL and write the voltage equation for the loop 2. So for loop, yes.
Ma'am, actually in the first equation, why didn't we write minus 10, ma'am?
Oh, sorry. I think why we didn't write minus 10? Because we have written it as sum of the voltage rises is equal to sum of the voltage drops. So this is a rise and all these are drops. If I'm combining in a single equation, then this will also be minus, this will also be minus, and this will also be minus and equal to 0. Am I confusing? No, no confusion. Yes, so we can write the KVL in two ways. Sum of the voltages in a loop is equal to 0. So if I'm writing only one equation, then rise is assumed as positive and drop is assumed as negative. But here what I have done is sum of the voltage drops is equal to sum of the voltage rises. That's the reason I didn't include the magnitude here. Okay, so now the first equation. Same way I can write for the second loop. Okay, so here this is a rise, so 10, and again here it's a drop, so 10 into I2 minus I1, and then plus 6I2 plus 4I2. Okay, so now here let's go for simplification. 10 is equal to 10I2, 6I2, 4I2. So it's going to be 20I2 minus 10I1. Again, I can simplify this, divide the whole equation. So minus I1 plus 2I2 is equal to 1. Minus I1 plus 2I2 is equal to 1. Okay, so directly if you're comfortable in solving this equation, you can solve it. Multiply the second equation by 3 and then you can eliminate I1 and then find out I2, then proceed the same way. Substitute the I1 value in the first or second equation, find out the other way. You can just go for the equation simplification. Otherwise, we can write the matrix equivalent. Okay, so now what will be the matrix equivalent? So here 3 minus 2 and here minus 1, 2. So I1, I2, and here the constants are 1, 1. Here the constants are 1, 1. Okay, so this is based on the equation. This is based on the equation. Now, by supervision of the circuit, just by looking at the network, how do we write the equation? So as discussed already, let me write this matrix once. R11, R12, R21, R22 into I1, I2 is equal to V1, V2. Now let us replace all these values for the given network. Okay, R11 is the self-resistances, sum of the resistances for loop 1. So for loop 1, we have two resistances, 10 ohms and 5 ohms. So I can write it as 15 ohms. Okay, and then R12 is a common resistance. Between loop 1 and loop 2, we have only one common resistance, that is 10 ohms. So that will be negative, minus 10. Okay, and then here R21.
Why will this be negative? The 10, why will this be negative? How do we know that?
That's what we discussed. Now, since we are going for the clockwise direction, always the common resistance will be a negative value. That's the reason I have explained all these networks. Always when we go for the clockwise current direction, the common resistance will be a negative one.
Okay.
Ma'am, why 15, ma'am?
Why 15? R11 is the sum of the resistances in loop 1. So for loop 1, it is 5 and 10. There are two resistors in loop 1, right? Two resistances in loop 1. So 10 ohms plus 10 ohms plus 5 ohms, it is 15 ohms. Okay, is it okay?
Okay.
So for the second loop also, what is R21? It's a common resistance between loop 2 and loop 1. So again, only one, that's minus 10. Always the common resistance will be a negative one. And then R22 is the sum of the resistances for loop 2. So in loop 2, 10 plus 6 plus 4. So 20. We have written this resistance matrix. Current matrix is just unknown current I1 and I2. Now this is very important, V1 and V2. Okay, so V1 is nothing but voltage source for loop 1. So we have two voltage sources. One is 15, the other one is 10. Okay, for loop 1, 15 and 10. So as per this direction, this is a rise and this is a drop. So 15 minus 10, it's 5. Same way for the loop 2. As far as the loop 2 is concerned, we have only one voltage source. Okay, that is as far as the loop 2 is concerned, it's a rise. So it's going to be 10. It's going to be 10. Okay, so that's all. That's all. We got this equation. Maybe if you go for taking out the common element, you may get something similar to this. 3 minus 2 minus 1, 2 and 1. Okay, so here when you take 5 as a common one, And here when you take 5 as a common one, you may get something like this. Okay, so this way I can write the matrix directly. So now when I want to solve for I1, del I1 by del. What is del I1? Del I1 is, you want me to write del I1? Del I1 is replace the first column. Replace the first column with constant values. That is 15 and minus 10 will be replaced with 5 and 10, and minus 10 and minus 20 remains the same. So this is your del I1. Similarly for del I2, replace the second column. Replace the second column with the constant one. So 15 minus 10, and second column is replaced with a constant value 5, 10. Okay, and del is nothing but determinant of this resistance matrix. Determinant of this resistance matrix. I think in calculator you have a direct, you can directly compute this determinant of the matrix. I hope there is a method. Maybe you can find out. You can try that. Okay, so you need not solve for the matrix determinant calculation. Directly in calculator, using calculator, you can find out the determinant of the matrix. Similarly, I think this can also be done directly. This can also be done directly. You can just find it out and you can do that in an easy method. Okay, so this is
Ma'am, just to clarify, the determinant in the denominator is nothing but the resistance, right? The resistance matrix.
Exactly. Del is nothing but the resistance matrix. This is del.
And another thing, ma'am, can we expect questions? Will you give us questions like solve the matrix using this method particularly? Like you name the method.
No, I will not say that way. I will not say that way. Only thing is, I may specify use mesh analysis, but I may not specify matrix method or this method. You can do
okay. You will.
Mesh analysis I will specify whether you have to go for mesh analysis or current transformation, source transformation, or nodal analysis or theorem. That I will specify. Use this method.
I have just one question. We can solve any network using nodal analysis, right? Nodal analysis works for every sort of network, no?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So this is the another example. Maybe quickly I'll finish with this. We have time, right? Okay. So this network. Okay. So now, can anyone tell me? Shall I go for mesh directly? Or before that, can I go for any simplification of this network? Okay. Okay. So as it is, if you consider how many loops we have, as it is, if you consider how many loops here. Okay. Before that, is it a planar or non-planar network? It's very clean. It's a planar network. There is no branch crossing the another branch, right? There is no branch crossing another branch. So it's very clean that the given network is a planar network. Okay. Now the second point is identify the number of loops. Identify the number of loops. So how many loops we have? So if you consider the network as it is, then we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 loops. We have 3 loops. But I have an option to reduce this. One more interesting thing. In mesh analysis, this is a mesh analysis, right? So what is that we are applying? We are applying a KVL and we are writing a voltage equation for a loop. Now, if suppose my network has a current source, then how do I find the voltage equivalent of this current source? Let me repeat. See, so we are analyzing a network using mesh analysis. Okay. So mesh analysis basically uses KVL. Okay. So we identify the loops and we apply KVL and write the voltage equation for that particular loop. Okay. Now I just finished it, isn't it? So this resistor connected between A and B, right? So I can draw this like this. Okay, so now when I identify the loops, so here in this loop, also in this loop, I have a current source. Now, how will I write what will I write as a voltage component for this? How do I know what will be the voltage equivalent of this current source? So definitely it's not possible to find out. So in this network, what we can do to avoid that confusion, that is when you have a network with current source, then we cannot go for the mesh analysis directly. That is something called super mesh. We'll discuss in the next class. That is something called super mesh. Using super mesh, we can go for this. Networks with current source can be solved. Okay, now we'll go for a normal mesh analysis. What do? I just combine this current source in parallel with resistance as a, just apply the source transformation. Just apply the source transformation. What is source transformation? Any voltage source can be converted into its equivalent current source. Similarly, current source can be converted to its equivalent voltage source. Now, this current source in parallel with the resistor can be converted to a voltage source in series with the resistance. Okay, so current direction is very important. So current direction -2 plus. Since it's downwards direction, -2 plus. And then I'll connect this resistor. Now, this is replaced. So now I will hit. This is my converted network. So what did I do? Maybe let me replace all the values. So this is 10K and this is 12K. This is 5K and this is 10 volt, 4K and this is 8 volt. Now the current source 2 milliamps in parallel with the resistance 6 kilo ohms became voltage source in series with the resistance. So obviously this resistance will be 6K and what will be the voltage equivalent? I into R. So 6K multiplied by 2 milliamps become 12 volt. Kilo ohms and milliamps became, okay, so it's 12. And how did I mark the direction? Current source, since it is given this way, current -2 plus. As far as the current source is concerned, current flows from -2 plus. So I have based on this current direction -2 plus. That's all. Any doubt here?
So,
yes,
yeah. So if the resistor and the current source are between the same two terminal points, then we can convert it to a voltage source, right?
Yeah, that's what we discussed in the last class, no?
Yeah,
so
I'm just clarifying. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. What you said is correct. So the current source, normally voltage sources will have the internal resistance in series. That resistance should be ideally 0. Similarly, current source will have its internal resistance in parallel. Okay, so now that's why that is how we are treating. How we are treating this current source in parallel with the resistance. This resistance is it's nothing but the internal resistance of the current source. So which is converted to its equivalent voltage source. So current source in parallel with the resistance will be converted to a voltage source in series with the resistance and vice versa. If I have voltage source in series with the resistance, that can be converted to a current source in parallel with resistance. That's all. Now I have converted the given network like this. Now I have converted.
Ma'am, if there will be no 6 k ohm, then how we will convert?
That's what I said. So here it is possible, so we convert it. So if I don't have that, then we have something called super mesh analysis. We will discuss in the next class. If I have, that's what mesh analysis always have to write a voltage equation. So now if I have a current source in a given network, how do I write the voltage equation? Okay, so for this particular network, we are able to convert the current source into a voltage source. If suppose some of the networks which I'm not able to do this way, then I have to go for super mesh. We will see what is the procedure for the super mesh. We'll write the current equation for that particular current source and neglect the current source and consider the other loads. We have the procedure. We will discuss in the next class. So now for this given network, we are able to solve this way. Can anyone tell me quickly the resistance matrix? For so many people are there. Anyone voluntarily? Can anyone tell me the resistance matrix? So obviously it's 2 loop for the given network. It's 2 loop. So can anyone tell me?
Ma'am, 16 minus 5 first row I'm telling. 16 minus 5.
Why minus 5?
It's a common now.
16 plus 5, no? For this loop we have 3 resistors, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Very good. So
Sorry.
21K. And then here
20.
minus 5K. As you said, it is minus 5K. And then for loop 2, this is R21.
21
minus.
again.
Again here also my 21.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
16 plus 5, 21K. Very good. So currents will be I1, I2. and this voltage is, yeah. So now for loop 1, we have two voltages. We have two voltage
Minus.
sources. Now this is drop and this is
Ma'am.
also drop. So can anyone tell me what will be the
22.
value?
Plus
22 plus 22 or minus 22?
Plus
Is it plus 22? See, as per the current direction,
minus,
rise or
22.
this is
Ma'am,
drop.
minus 22.
This is also drop. So it is minus 22. And then for the loop 2, what is the voltage value? There are two voltage sources. So this is
18.
a rise and this is also a rise. So we
18.
have 18 plus 8. Okay, so just solve this. So determinant of this matrix. Del, you find out del I1 is nothing but replace the first column with the constant value. Del I1 by del will give us I1. Same way, replace the second column with the constant matrix. That will be del I2. So del I2 by del. Del is nothing but this resistance matrix, determinant of this resistance matrix. So del I2 by del will give us I2. This is nothing but Cramer's. Okay, so maybe with this I will stop. Then we will go for super mesh analysis in the next.
Ma'am, actually, how did we get that -5, ma'am, after that 21 for the resistance?
This is as per the mesh analysis. This is R11 and this is R12. What is R12? R12 is a resistance common between loop 1 and loop 2. And always the common resistance will be a negative value. Maybe directly in the matrix itself, we can say that minus R12 minus R21. That's what any mutual resistance will be a negative value. Why? It's because we are going for a clockwise direction for all the loops. So the common element will have one current in same direction, the other current in the opposite direction. So definitely it will be a difference between those two values. So you will get a negative value for that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, in many cases, differences could be both positive and negative, ma'am.
No, that's why I did the simplification in detail. That's the reason I did the simplification. See, when I go for this equation, when I try to write this and convert that into a matrix, we are getting a negative value for this common element. So it's quite obvious when I write the matrix directly by supervising the network, then the common element will be a negative value.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Wrote it. Wait, I'll just get it. People may have to leave for the next class. See, one more thing. See, please join on time. So maybe you may have some issues. So I'm just giving a buffer time of 15 minutes. So if you're joining beyond 15 minutes, if you're joining late after 15 minutes, then I may not be able to give the attendance. Okay. So if there is any clarification in your attendance, you can message me. Okay. So sometimes since I'm bulk downloading and I'm posting the attendance based on the Excel, no, I may sometimes there may be a small error. Okay. So that's all. So if you have anything, you can ask me. Otherwise, you can leave.
Yeah, ma'am, the level of questions in our exams will be more or less the same as you discuss in the class, right?
Yeah, that's the reason. Maybe it's
no,
very
because
difficult. That's what. Let me finish. It's very difficult to solve very complex. How much? That is, I'm trying to solve different networks. Okay. So what I'll do before your exam, I give one assignment question.
Okay.
Consisting of some difficult or critical networks, so that you can just practice and that way you will get. Methodology will be same. Sometimes the network you may like I should not use the word difficult. You may find it
complicated.
critical.
I know. Sometimes in the 3D circuits it gets really complicated.
Yes,
the cubes and all. We have done
so
that.
what I will do, I'll just give one assignment question consisting of some critical questions. You can just practice that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Okay, see you. Bye.